This is exactly how you can be everything. How to be in abundance, whether it's money, wealth, health, anything you want, to have everything at once. Be in true abundance. There's only one way to have this, and that is to be nothing. Stay with me now because I'm actually going to explain this in so much detail that it's going to all make perfect sense to you. You see, right now, you think of yourself as separate. You have an identity. And the law of identity, this is how it works. The law of identity states if X equals X, X cannot equal Y. So if you are you cannot be me. If you are this, you cannot be that. If you are rich, you cannot be poor. If you are tall, you cannot be short. Vice versa. This is the law of identity. So if you are anything, there must be something that you are not. And what actually is abundance then? What is the definition of abundance? Abundance is the opposite of lack. So when there's no lack at all, you're in abundance. But what did we just learn about identity? If you are something, you lack something else. So do you see where I'm going here with this? When you realize that you are not separate, but you are just one whole. You are connected to everything. You are everything. And there is no you to be, have, or do anything. You're just one. You're whole. There's no separation. And your identity just dissolves. You are nothing. When you are nothing, you can be everything. And what this actually means is everything you've tied your identity to. So I must have this purpose. I must have this goal. I must go in this direction. This is my purpose. This is my direction. This is what I have to do. This is your ego speaking. This is your coming from your identity. And that means the other purposes, the other directions, you cannot have that. You lack that because you're going in this direction. But when you dissolve all of this, you realize that all this stuff in the future that you want, all the stuff in the past that defined you, just dissolves and you become present. You become in the now. And this is so important. When you get rid of your identity, it sounds a bit confusing. You stop being in this chase, because when you reach that goal that you want, when you reach that purpose, that desire, you are just going to create a new one. You can't ever reach true purpose, true goals. You will just keep creating new ones. So there will always be suffering because you will never get there. But when you're in the present moment, when you're in flow state, when you are just so in the moment, the suffering cannot exist. You are in abundance, but you can't identify as something, but you can't fall into the trap that you don't identify as something either, because as soon as you think like that, it's like, well, who is the one that's killing the ego? Who is the one that doesn't identify? You become like an identity itself. And as it gets a bit tricky here, but the idea is, the way I like to explain it, is that a river does not need to know it's a river for it to flow. It just flows. The water in the stream, it just goes. It doesn't need to know it's a river. It doesn't need to know it's not a mountain. It doesn't need to know it's not in the sky. It just goes. And it just flows with the current. That is what no suffering looks like. That's what flow state is. That's what being in the present moment is. And by no means have I achieved this state, because if I did, that would be coming from my ego and it would be a bit of a mess. But you can dip in and out of this state where you just relieve all this stress that you need to be someone, you need to do someone, or you are something because of your past. It's like this huge weight off your shoulders is lifted from you, and you are just perfect as you are. You don't need to be, do, have, you just are, and you're just flowing with life. This is the way. This is abundance. This is how to eliminate suffering for good. And this one trick will allow you to achieve anything you want with ease, like effortless effort. The water doesn't need effort to flow down the stream. It goes effortlessly. And that should be us as we move through life. We should just be flowing with life wherever it takes us, not chained by what we should be, what we shouldn't be, and all this nonsense. Because all this nonsense is coming at us from all these external inputs. Our family, our friends, society, these are all external inputs that are chaining us. So yeah, I'm not really sure where I'm going now with this little rant. But just know that you are in the right place. Where you are now, what you're doing now, this is it. This is all you ever need. You're perfect as you are. You don't need, I'm not saying this in a cutesy way or anything like that, but this is actually the case. Because as soon as you want to become something, you suffer, because I'm not that yet. And in this process of suffering, you strive to this goal and you achieve this goal, and then what? You're not happy, you're not satisfied, you want to make a new goal. This is always the case. Now, there is an important thing to mention though. With this flow of life, with all this being present and all that, you might be thinking, well, if I need to get rid of all my desires, all my destinations, all my goals, then what do? I'm directionless, I don't know what to do, I have no purpose, and you kind of panic. And that is actually coming from your ego, because your ego is saying like, oh, what will you be without me? You know, who will you be without your identity? Where will you go without purpose? And you get frightened. This is the fear of ego death. But what you've got to realize is that you are everywhere at once. And the river that is flowing, it is going somewhere. It's got a direction. It's just not bound by it. It's not chained by it. And you just go wherever you want. You flow with whatever naturally pulls your attention. So if you want to go start a business or start posting content or join a sports team, you just do it because you want to. There's no other deeper meaning to it. You just flow and just go to what naturally feels right. And this is such a relieving experience. This is inner peace.